Hey guys, Lee and Michelle, Resistance Chicks, January 26, 2017. Yesterday was Trump's first interview from the White House, and we just kind of wanted to bring it to you guys and maybe give a little bit of our commentary for how it went. We already covered a little bit about the March to Life, but we just wanted to let Trump speak in his own words. And
fair use, ABC News.
Yeah, ABC News.
Okay, here we go.
To the weight of the presidency. Mr. President, I want to start, we're 5 days in, and your campaign promises. I know today you plan on signing the order to build the wall.
Correct.
Are you going to direct U.S. funds to pay for this wall? Will American taxpayers pay for the wall?
Ultimately, it'll come out of what's happening with Mexico. We're going to be starting those negotiations relatively soon, and we will be in a form reimbursed by Mexico, which I've always said.
So they'll pay us back?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
When does construction begin?
As soon as we can physically do it.
I want to ask about undocumented immigrants who are here in this country. Right now, they're protected as so-called dreamers, the children who were brought here, as you know, by their parents. Should they be worried that they could be deported? And is there anything you can say to assure them right now that they'll be allowed to stay?
They shouldn't be very worried. They are here illegally. They shouldn't be very worried. I do have a big heart. We're going to take care of everybody. We're going to have a very strong border. We're going to have a very solid border. Where you have great people that are here that have done a good job, they should be far less worried. We'll be coming out with policy on that over the next period of 4 weeks.
That's really interesting.
So,
He's talking about letting
will
them
they be allowed to stay?
I'm going to tell you over the next 4 weeks.
I want to ask you about something you said this week right here at the White House. You brought in congressional leaders to the White House. You spoke at length about the presidential election with them, telling them that you lost the popular vote because of millions of illegal votes, 3 to 5 million illegal votes. That would be the biggest electoral fraud in American history. Where is the evidence of that?
So let me tell you, first of all, it was so misrepresented. That was supposed to be a confidential meeting, and you weren't supposed to go out and talk to the press.
Jeez Louise, go with the...
Viewed it not as a confidential
But
meeting.
you have tweeted about the millions of illegal
Sure, I do, and I do, and I'm very...
votes before.
And I mean it. But just so you know, it was supposed to be a confidential meeting. They turned it into a non-confidential. Number two, the conversation lasted for about a minute. They made it, somebody said it was like 25% of the deal. It wasn't. It was hardly even discussed. I said it, and I said it strongly, because what's going on with voter fraud is horrible. That's number one. Number two, I would have won the popular vote if I was campaigning for the popular vote. I would have gone to California, where I didn't go at all. I would have gone to New York, where I didn't campaign at all. I would have gone to a couple of places that I didn't go to, and I would have won that much easier than winning the Electoral College. But as you know, the Electoral College is all that matters. It doesn't make any difference. With that being said, if you look at voter registration, you look at the dead people that are registered to vote, who vote, you look at people that are registered in 2 states, you look at all of these different things that are happening with registration.
Check out Project Veritas.
You take a look at those registration, you're going to
they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But 3 to 5 million illegal votes.
Well, we're going to find out, but it could very well be that much.
When you say, in your opinion, millions of illegal votes, that is something that is extremely fundamental to our functioning democracy, a fair and free election.
Sure.
You say you're going to launch an investigation into
Sure.
this.
Done.
Fair and free election.
What you
Undermining
have
the fair and
presented
free
so far
election.
has been debunked.
Clinton.
It's been called false.
Take a look at the Pew reports.
I called the author of the Pew report last night, and he told me that they found no evidence of
Really?
voter
Then
fraud.
why did he write the report?
He said no evidence of voter
Excuse
fraud.
me. Then why did he write the report?
So I guess
According
I'm-
to Pew report, then he's groveling again. You know, I always talk about the reporters that grovel when they want to write something that you want to hear, but not necessarily millions of people want to hear or have to hear.
Let me ask you about a new report
He
that you were
stands his
poised to
ground.
lift
It's
the
kind of
ban on
impressive.
so-called CIA black sites, prisons around the world that have been used in the past. Is that true?
Well, I'll be talking about that in
Let me
about
just
2
talk-
hours.
Jill Stein did those recounts and didn't find anything with the recount. However, we have seen that there were some dead people that voted, and Project Veritas, I think if we went into anywhere where you don't have to present an ID,
Right.
so there's a lot of illegal voting.
Are you going to lift the ban?
You're going to see in about 2 hours.
Tonight, we are still waiting for word from the Trump White House on any decision involving those so-called...
Let me go back here.
Are you going to lift the ban? Prisons around the world that have been used in the past. Is that true?
Well, I'll be talking about that in about 2 hours.
Let's see.
Necessarily millions of people want to hear or have to hear.
Let me ask you about a new report that you are poised to lift a ban on so-called CIA black sites, prisons around the world that have been used in the past. Is that true?
Well, I'll be talking about that in about 2 hours.
Are you going to lift the ban?
You're going to see in about 2 hours.
Tonight, we are still waiting for word from the Trump White House on any decision involving those so-called black sites.
The last president, President Obama, said the U.S. does not torture. Will you say that?
Well, I have a general who I have great respect for, General Mattis, who said, I was a little surprised, who said he's not a believer in torture. As you know, Mr. Pompeo was just affirmed by the Senate. He's a fantastic guy. He's going to be the head of the CIA, and you have somebody fabulous as opposed to the character that just got out who was not fabulous at all.
It was not fabulous.
And he will, I think, do a great job.
I love Trump.
We're all
And
going to use the word
he
fabulous
is,
more.
I haven't gone into great detail, but I will tell you, I have spoken to others in intelligence, and they are big believers in, as an example, waterboarding.
You did tell
Because they
me.
say
Has
it
anybody
does
seen
work.
24?
It does work.
Mr.
With
President,
Kiefer Sutherland?
Mr. President, you told me during one of the debates that you would bring back waterboarding
Yeah.
and a hell of a lot worse.
I
Your
would
words.
do what I would do. I want to keep our country safe. I want to keep our country safe.
What does that
when
mean?
They're shooting, when they're chopping off the heads of our people and other people, when they're chopping off the heads of people because they happen to be a Christian in the Middle East, when ISIS is
Whoa.
doing things that nobody
Ooh,
has
I
ever
got
heard of
goosebumps on
since
that.
medieval times, would I feel strongly
Goosebumps on my
about
head.
waterboarding? As far as I'm concerned, we
I
have
wanna
to fight
keep my
fire with
head.
fire. Now, with that being said, I'm going with General Mattis. I'm going with my secretary
Interesting.
because I think Pompeo is
Pause
going to
that
be
for a minute.
phenomenal. I'm going to go with what they say.
You guys, listen. This is once again, it's a prime example of what we just said in our last segment, where Trump may have his own opinion about how something should be done, but he's listening to the people and he's listening to the advisors that he has put around him, that he trusts their opinion and their expertise far more than he does his own. And that is something about Trump and that's how he became a successful businessman, by surrounding himself by people. See, really strong businessmen may not know everything, but they know how to surround themselves by people who do. And if you respect them morally, you respect their expertise in an area, which is why these people have different positions. I'm just so impressed that he said that. I'm sorry, I hate to.
And I hope that he
Like-
listens to the people too.
Yeah.
On these kind of matters, because when you got people chopping people's head off, and you know for sure, you got to get in.
Because
there,
we don't know.
Right.
We're not in that position to know, is this a person that literally did a bad thing?
Right.
Because if this person has blown up other people, maybe you might have to torture them to get the information.
But I have spoken as recently as 24 hours ago with people at the highest level of intelligence, and I asked them the question, does it work? Does torture work? And the answer was yes, absolutely.
You're now the president. Do you want waterboarding?
I don't want people to chop off the citizens or anybody's heads in the Middle East, okay? Because they're Christian or Muslim or anything else. I don't want, look, you are old enough to have seen a time that was much different. You never saw heads chopped off until a few years ago. Now they chop them off and they put them on camera and they send them all over the world.
It really
So
does
we have
happen,
that,
guys.
and
It's
we're
not
allowed
fake. It's
to
not
do
hyperbole.
anything. We're not playing on an even field. I will say this. I will rely on Pompeo and Mattis and my group. And if they don't want to do, that's fine. If they do want to do, then I will work toward that end. I want to do everything within the bounds of what you're allowed to do legally. But do I feel it works? Absolutely, I feel it works.
So you'd be okay with it
I
as
want to
president?
keep, I will rely on General Mattis, and I'm going to rely on those two people and others. And if they don't want to do it, it's 100% okay with me. Do I think it works? Absolutely.
We head outside to the colonnade, where we discussed what happened shortly after President Trump took the oath of office.
This is the famous walk. You've seen so many presidents.
So many. Amazing.
Let me ask you, right after the oath of office, they give you the nuclear codes, the biscuit. Sobering moment?
When they explain what it represents and the kind of destruction that you're talking about, it is a very sobering moment. Yes, it's very, very, very scary in a sense.
Does it keep you up at night?
No, but I have confidence that I'll
He's
do the
very
right
honest.
thing and the right job. But it's a very, very scary thing.
Every president does get asked, though, what keeps them awake, what's unsettling. What has been most unsettling for you now that you're 5 days in?
Well, I think I see a tremendous amount of waste. I see a tremendous amount of job opportunities that have been let go for many years. And I'm not just talking about President Obama. I'm talking about for many, many years. And I was a big, big fan of Ronald Reagan, but I was never a big fan on trade with respect to Ronald Reagan. I just think we've had years and years of allowing our jobs to be dissipated in this country, and there's no reason for it.
So the economy keeps you up more than terrorism and homeland
I
security?
view it all the same, all
You do?
very important. Yep, terrorism is, to me, number one, because we have to keep people safe. Most importantly, we have to keep people safe. But the economy is certainly, I mean, we have to bring the jobs back. I talk the forgotten men and women. They're not forgotten anymore because they came out and voted. A lot of people, you folks, didn't know they existed in a true sense. Everyone's saying, where did they all come from? It was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
I want
When
to
we
pause
come
that
back,
really quick.
the
Oh,
millions
this
of
is gonna end here
Americans
a minute.
who want to know what the replacement
You
will
just
be
stop that.
for Obamacare.
What I found really interesting about that is the guy was trying to kind of put Trump in a pinch. Like, well, wait a minute. Are you saying that the economy, which sounds like money and things like that, is more important than terrorism? Here's the thing you need to know about Donald Trump. He is an elitist, and he knows what's going on. And what many of you resistance folks do understand is that we have stuff coming down the line, and America is about to collapse. And what will happen when America collapses, if, when, whatever, when the dollar collapses, is you're going to see more chaos than this country has seen since the Civil War, since the Revolutionary War, things that you never even heard of at that time. All right, we're talking about people that are starving, that are killing, that are looting because they don't have any money and they don't have any food and they have lost their jobs. Okay, so what Trump sees as an elitist is he sees that what the New World Order is pushing, he sees what the Agenda 21 is pushing, and he sees how we got here by the Federal Reserve depreciating our dollar, like Matt said last night, to almost zero.
I want to plug Matt's video. If you haven't watched it, I know it's a long interview with Matt, Kansas Matt Stoskov, who we voted for president. We wanted to bring you a longer video so that you could understand who we were, what we were about. We are resistance chicks.
Right.
Traditionally, you would think we would be Republican. We're more libertarian than anything else. Could not vote for Gary Johnson. All right. So God had put us on our hearts faith for men of God to rise up. Okay. And I really think God's moving. But Matt, Kansas, he has a perspective on business, and he knows where Trump's mind is at. And Matt got saved, and he realized that the money that he was seeking, he did the same flipping and the same business model with real estate that Donald Trump did on a smaller level, but he's like, he amassed a small little fortune and is sustaining to this day. But he gives, and he's realizing that giving is so much better, that you have to give everything up for Christ. I don't think Donald Trump is quite there yet, understanding.
But I think that he's getting there, and I'm comfortable that
the common man. The more he says the common man,
Yeah.
and he believes it, and he knows it, and he's been around real people. I don't think Donald Trump knows what it's like to go hungry. I know what it's like to go hungry. We had a very wealthy father, and on my father's side of the family, very wealthy. We called him
the Swedish Mafia.
Yeah, which is our joke. But with our mom, when they got divorced, is why we wanted to support single moms. She had to go into government housing for a little bit. So here we are in the hood, two little white girls surrounded by black girls and guys who were
we
really
were persecuted
harsh
against because of our
and
race.
mean to us, and it was hard. I mean, we were roaches. Open up the cupboard, there's no food, none. I mean, mom had to find food to make sure, there's a box of macaroni and cheese. Mom, can you make it without milk? Can we use water? Use water. Things like that. I mean, we don't have any butter, So here I am, when he understands the plight of the common man, and he's trying to put himself. It'd be very hard when your whole
He's trying
house
to put
is
himself
made of
in that
gold.
government housing. He's trying to put himself in the black mindset, in the white mindset, in the Hispanic mindset. Paul says, I have become all things to all people. And I think as Trump becomes all things to all people, he literally is feeling what they're going through.
What I'm hoping is that he has a real, he's having a coming to Jesus moment. He's having little moments, poot, poot. I'm hoping he has his real come to Jesus moment. But this is good, and we are behind it. Pray for him. That's the one thing God keeps telling me over and over again. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for him to come to know Jesus Christ as personal Savior in a powerful way.
Yeah,
The second part. We'll just keep playing. It's 4 minutes.
You don't want to separate it too?
No.
Okay, all right, we're going to
just
bring it to
play
you guys. Never mind. Stay
Mute
with
it.
us.
Unmute.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties.
Another promise involving Obamacare to repeal it. And you told the Washington Post that your plan to replace Obamacare will include insurance for everybody. That sounds an awful lot like universal
It's
coverage.
going to be, what my plan is that I want to take care of everybody. I'm not going to leave the lower 20% that can't afford insurance. Just so you understand, people talk about Obamacare. And I told the Republicans this. The best thing we could do is nothing for 2 years, let it explode, and then we'll go in and we'll do a new plan, and the Democrats will vote for it, believe me. Because this year you'll have 150% increases. Last year in Arizona, 116% increase. Minnesota, 60 some odd percent increase. And I told them, except for one problem, I want to get it fixed. The best thing I could do as the leader of this country, but as wanting to get something approved with support of the Democrats, if I didn't do anything for 2 years, they'd be begging me to do something. But I don't want to do that.
So no one who has this health insurance through Obamacare will lose it or end up with anything
when you
else.
say no one, I think no one. Ideally, in the real world, you're talking about millions of people. Well, no one. And then, knowing ABC, you'll have this one person on television saying how they were hurt. Okay. We want no
I
one.
love that he calls
We
it out
want
like
the
real.
issue
He
to
knows
be
that they're going to catch
That's
it.
what I really like about Donald Trump is he speaks like real deal. Like
Yeah.
you'll have this one person out there.
Millions of people will be happy. Right now, you have millions and millions and millions of people that are unhappy.
I like that.
So we're in the Oval Office.
This is the Oval Office. This is
It's so bright in
truly one
there.
of the great spaces. And I bring people in from General Motors and from Ford and the biggest people, and I bring in the labor leaders and people that are in the labor movement. And they walk into this room and they just want to take it in. They could stand here for an hour.
There's so
just
much
taking it in.
history.
What moves you the most about this room?
Just the history of it, the importance of it, what's happened here. I actually
Some very
put some
bad
pictures
things
up that
and
I
some very
thought
good.
would be great. Some of the paintings that I thought would be really appropriate. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Jackson, who a lot of people, they compare the campaign of Trump with the campaign of, you have to go back to 1828, but that seems to be a comparison for, certain obvious reasons. But
And we're standing
we
on-
put some of these up.
We're standing on Ronald Reagan's rug.
This was Ronald Reagan's, and you have a choice, when you come in. They have 8 or 9 carpets. They have different furniture. The desk is...
The Resolute desk.
Yes, that's the Resolute desk.
We have seen the amount of action at this desk already this week.
Right.
The Dow hit 20,000 today.
Right. I'm very proud of that. Very proud of that. The business community and the labor community. You saw that with the labor leaders that came out. One of them said it was the single greatest meeting I've ever had with anybody. It's the highlight of my life. And the Dow, on top of it, just hit 20,000. First time in history. I'm very proud of that. Now, we have to go up, up, up. We don't want it to stay there.
That's the challenge, Mr. President.
That's going to be the challenge. But it's gone up a lot since I won. Don't forget, when I won, people thought, oh, maybe it will go down. But the business world doesn't think that. The business world knows me. They don't think that. And it was a steady climb. And now we just hit a record and a number that's never been hit before. So I was very honored by that.
The president then takes us through the West Wing to show us the photos they already have on the walls.
And these are some of the pictures that were taken. This is the swearing in and the first dance with Melania.
And just before we leave, the president tells us he wants to show us just one more image.
One thing this shows is how far over they go here. Look how far this is. This goes all the way down here, all the way down. Nobody sees that. You don't see that in the pictures. But when you look at this tremendous sea of love, I call it a sea of love. It's really something special that all these people traveled here from all parts of the country, maybe
It's
the
quite
world,
amazing.
but all parts of the country. Hard for them to get here. Many of these people were the forgotten men and women, many of them. And they loved what I had to say. But more importantly, they're going to love the result.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
David.
Thank you.
I know what Leah's going to want to hit first, and this is again another plug for the video that we did last night with Kansas Matt, and that is that our hope and our desire that Trump will, instead of looking at business, he's going to get down to the heart of the everyday man and see that they don't just need a job. They don't just need to clock in and clock out. But America, we were founded on the pursuit of happiness and having a life.
Individual calling on their lives.
And everybody has a calling, and I gotta tell you, being in an assembly line at Ford is not your
being
calling.
in the office every day.
Guys, God has something so much more for every single American. I know so many people, but I need my cars and I need my stuff. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. If you need cars, let's individualize it. Have a guy that makes cars, you know what I mean? And have him have his little business. Right. This big conglomerate that we have developed. Big, huge capitalism. I believe that as God moves on Trump's heart, he's going to realize the plight of the everyday man that is miserable and hates going to a job every day.
We are watching Trump unfold.
Yeah.
And we're watching him make decisions and changes.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, we got to bring the jobs back from overseas.
Yeah, and he's doing
We have
that.
to stop calling and hearing people from India.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hello, can I help you? And then you cannot understand anything that they say. I can actually speak Indian far better than I can understand it when they talk to you on the phone. It drives me crazy every time I hear the Indian people, and I'm just like, what are you saying? And they're like, please press the button. And I'm like, what? The button. Press the button. The what? Guys, we need to bring it back so that jobs are in America and we hear American. We were at Golden Corral once, and this guy goes, this is America, and we speak American in America. We were listening like 2 tables over, and I'm like,
American, is like the different kinds of dialects, because you go to the south and say, hey y'all. You go to the north and
we speak American in America.
Oh, don't you know? And you're out west, and you have, I mean, you have different dialects. You have people from
Those
New York,
people from
Boston,
India, they're speaking English, but they ain't speaking American. Cause you call me on the phone and you talk to me like that.
That's what we're talking about.
Then I can understand you.
You gotta
come
speak
to me and you
American
talk
in
to me like you
America.
just rapping, then I can understand you. That's American. This is not American.
Okay. We appreciate people from other countries coming to our country and trying to speak our language. I think this was a really good first step.
Remember, you guys, we're in the very infancy of Trump's presidency, and so we're going to see a lot. You know what? He may even make mistakes, but I think that he's going to grow and blossom.
Don't ride the Trump train. You get on the train and ride it. Don't just everything
Don't follow
that he
him.
says.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't even want you to do that. Right?
Let's analyze it.
Let's analyze every situation. If there's situations where we want him to change, let's pray about it. Let's make our voices known, right? Because we are part of the resistance. We realize, that, things have been killing us. Vaccines. We know the dollar is going to crash. So when you hear the things about business, I take it with a grain of salt because I know the dollar's going to crash because all those dollars, the stock market goes up and down. The fact that it can go up and down and people are gaining wealth. I mean, we saw the bubbles in 2008.
Right.
Our family was part of it. We lost a ton of money. We saw it. It was very painful. We were a GM family. So it died.
Right.
And then the government bailouts that happened that kept that going, all that debt that
perpetuated.
It was fake. It was
You know
fake
what?
money.
It's actually kind of like interfering in the natural course of events.
Exactly.
It's kind of like you watch these movies or this in the sci-fi, and then they go and they change something that was already going to happen.
Right.
That's what happened with the GM bailouts and the bank bailouts. That should have just been allowed.
We might have been able to heal and be on the healing
Right.
side.
It's kind of like a bone that broke, and then they just put a cast around that
Right.
broken bone, but they
Exactly.
never reset it.
Right.
And so we needed to
The
reset
housing
that
market,
bone,
and then
it just didn't happen.
Especially, we need to get back to the gold standard because the bankers. So you're going to hear a lot of that on Resistance Chicks, and we're going to push for Donald Trump in the spirit realm, and with you guys. We have to end the Fed. We've got to get on the gold standard. Buy silver right now.
If you guys can do anything right now besides getting chickens and starting a garden and whatever, if you have any savings, put it in gold and silver, specifically silver. That's going to be your best bet right now. So, and can I do a plug? I can do a plug. Can I not do a plug? This is our channel. We kind of support SD Bouillon. They're kind of a big company, but they're a Christian company.
Yeah.
And we've had good dealings with them. So I think that's a safe bet for you guys to go that route. I love people from India. We have Indian friends. I just was having a little bit of fun there. I love people with all accents and dialects.
I don't want to call you in India when I have a problem with an American company.
Exactly.
Just like people in India wouldn't want to call an American company
Right.
if they're having trouble with a thing in India.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Please follow us on Twitter, like us, comment, ring the bell, subscribe for Resistance Chicks and Mass Faith 3. You're going to get a lot of different videos there.
I was cold all alone, no place for home every day, so afraid, but you called my